Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of our program. Here we are together again on the radio. We appreciate your patronage. Here is a story from the Houston Chronicle newspaper. When we first met Lisa, a white 10th grade dropout, she was on welfare and struggling to complete a GED while living with her stepmother, her sister, and her 16-month-old son in a cramped row house in one of Philadelphia's roughest neighborhoods. She was also pregnant again by the father of her first child, a sporadically employed construction worker. But she told us she was not planning on getting married anytime soon. In 1950, when only 1 in 20 American children was born to an unmarried mother, Lisa and her boyfriend would probably have been living together already as man and wife. Today, though, get this, 1 in 3 children is now born to unmarried parents. To understand this rise in unmarried childbearing, we tried to offer women like Lisa an opportunity to answer the question that many middle-class Americans ask about them. Why don't they marry before having children? To find out, we spent 5 years getting to know 162 white, African-American, and Puerto Rican single mothers who live in the poorest sections of Philadelphia and its sister city, Camden, New Jersey, talking with them over kitchen tables and on front stoops. What we discovered was surprising. Instead of a rejection of marriage, we found a deep respect for it among many young mothers. They told us that getting married was their ultimate life ambition. While they acknowledge that putting children before marriage is not the ideal way of doing things, they're not about to risk going through life childless while waiting for Mr. Right. They built their dreams around children. As one 20-year-old mother explained as she watched her toddler, I wanted to have a baby. It wasn't like because everybody else had a baby. I wanted somebody to take care of. Can't even take care of yourself, you little whore. Their hopes for marriage are tempered by caution. These women calculate the risks and rewards of a permanent tie to the men they believe are available to them. They also balance their marital aspirations against their strong moral views about the conditions under which it is right to marry. Of course, they don't have strong moral views about fornication or having children out of wedlock. There's no strong moral views there. Fascinating. The story goes on to say, marriage, we heard time and again, ought to be reserved for those couples who've acquired the symbols of working-class respectability. A mortgage on a modest row house, a reliable car, a savings account, and enough money left over to host a decent wedding. But unlike their mothers and grandmothers, young women coming of age in poor neighborhoods today are not willing to achieve these goals by relying on a man. A 21-year-old mother argued, I'm going to make sure I have my own stability. I mean, because they're my kids. I don't care who the fathers are. They're mine. For the rest of my life, they're going to be my kids, and I'm going to have to take care of them with or without their fathers. These women said they want to be financially secure before they wed because a marriage, they believe, should be a partnership of equals. The women talked about the patriarchal views that many of their partners hold, arguing that money of their own will keep their men from thinking they, quote, own them. Most of all, though, these mothers told us how they desperately want partners they can trust. Though about 8 out of 10 unmarried new mothers say they hope to marry their children's father someday, less than 1 in 7 manage to do so by the time their child turns 3. The story behind these statistics is more than a lack of money. Women described to us relationships that were plagued by their partners' drug and alcohol addictions, criminal behavior, frequent run-ins with the law, chronic infidelity, and violent behavior. They felt there was little hope for a marriage to survive when, as one woman said, you just can't trust them anymore. Can't get a decent man that you really, really trust. By the way, I might add, I just love that last paragraph because, the answer is contained in the paragraph. If only these women could look in the mirror and realize who's responsible for these problems. Why would you have relationships with people who have drug and alcohol addictions, criminal behavior, run-ins with the law, chronic infidelity, violent behavior? You know what? Why are you having babies with guys like this? Much less why are you having relationships with guys like this? Why blame it on the guys? It's you. Girls, it's you. You know what? If you can't find a guy who doesn't fit one of those categories, how about you just stand back for a while and have a relationship when you find the right guy? How about you wait for that? How about you use birth control until that time? Because we all know that single mothers produce children that are more likely to be drug or alcohol dependent, more likely to be teenage parents, more likely to be criminals, more likely to have various kinds of health problems and birth defects. You girls don't give a rat's ass about the children you're creating like little Frankenstein monsters. All you care about is you. It's all about you. And anytime something doesn't work out for you, it's the fault of the guy. Not your fault. Oh, I'm sure there are plenty of guys with drug and alcohol problems. Criminals. Chronic infidelity, violent behavior. I'm sure there's lots of guys like that. Why do you have to get involved with that? How about you not get involved with that? I just love these women who have sex without a condom with guys who are clearly troublemakers, then later complain that the guys are irresponsible. Unbelievable. Says at the heart of these women's reluctance to marry is a strong aversion to divorce. It is the conviction that marriage should last forever that convinces them that, quote, getting married just to get divorced is worse than having a baby outside of marriage. Meanwhile, the future prospects of many inner-city youth are already so limited that they have little to lose and perhaps much to gain from a seemingly ill-timed birth. See that? Little to lose. That's what I'm talking about. These are people who already believe their lives are over. They are losers. They believe they are losers. They believe they will never accomplish anything in life ever, 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 ever. So they say, what the hell? I don't have the guts to blow my brains out. Why don't I just have a kid? And they don't even do it like that. It's like they just say, well, I'll just have sex without birth control. Whatever happens, happens. Poof, I got pregnant. I don't know how it happened. I just got knocked up. Well, things happen. Unbelievable. It says here, while girls from the suburbs dream of the lucrative careers and comfortable lifestyles that await them if they defer childbearing into their late 20s and 30s, economists have shown that poor girls who bear children while still in their teens would have been no better off for waiting. Well, that's only because they don't go to, college, community college, get a grant, study their ABCs, something. They're out there 13 and 14 humping and pumping. If they followed all of the rules we talk about here, how about you have your kid, after you meet the right guy, after you achieve the dream you have. But you wait till then. They don't listen. Unbelievable. It says here, promoting marriage among young couples like Lisa and her boyfriend Sean has become the new war on poverty. Several states are piloting innovative programs aimed at providing poor unmarried couples who want to stay together with the interpersonal skills that will help them manage their anger, communicate better, and become more effective parents. Many liberals are sharply critical of these efforts, in part because they may divert money from poor children. However, none of these state initiatives are coercing couples to marry, And poor couples themselves say they desperately need the skills the programs provide. Will improving couples' relationships keep more of them together? Probably so, it says here. Will these efforts alone be enough to get many of them married and keep them that way? This is less likely. For poor single mothers, marriage has not lost its value. Quite the opposite. They revere it too much to sully it with a foolish union. The standards they expressed echoed those of middle-class Americans. The women we met wanted to wed, but insisted on marrying well. This, in their view, is the only way to avoid divorce. But girls, think about this. If you've got a kid, you're less likely to marry well, because you are damaged goods. Once you've got a kid, your chances of meeting a great guy who makes a good living, who's got a brain, diminish. Because anybody with money, anybody with success, doesn't want some other guy's leftovers. Isn't that right, girl?
Tom Leykis.
1-800-5800-TOM.
Tom Leykis.
Yeah, I just wanted to know where I need to send the check.
For what?
For the service that you're giving out.
It's free to the public. I'm the Mother Teresa of broadcasting, as you know.
The Tom Leykis Show.
The Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. That is our telephone number. Elizabeth on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hey, Tom.
Hey.
How are you?
Do you care, dear?
I do. I'm a big fan.
Thank you, sir.
Believe it or not. Well, I'm just calling in because I'm 22 and I'm pregnant with my 4th child.
Your 4th child?
Yes.
And why are you pregnant with your 4th child at 22?
I messed up. I can't.
No.
I don't know.
You're messing up is doing it once.
Well, no. My first 3. My first one, I was 13, and I actually planned it.
You planned it for what reason?
I had accidentally got pregnant, and...
You accidentally planned it?
No. I had a miscarriage. And by the time that I had my miscarriage, I felt that I was already attached to the baby growing inside me. And I felt like as if I had to make up for that baby.
Where did you get this way of thinking?
I don't know.
You don't know.
And so...
So you decided to try to get knocked up again?
And I did.
And how old were you then? 14?
When I had my second, I was 16.
Well, wait a minute. I'm talking about the first one that was born.
Oh, I was 13.
What, so you first had a baby, then you had a miscarriage?
No, I had the miscarriage first.
All right, so you had the miscarriage at 13?
Yes.
Then you had a baby at 14?
No, I got pregnant at 13 again.
13 again?
Yes.
Now, what about birth control? Why weren't you using any?
I don't know. I
mean, you'd heard of it, hadn't you?
Sure.
Oh, I mean, you heard of sex. You probably heard of birth control.
My mom was very open with sex and birth control. And
did she arrange for you to get birth control?
Sure.
And why weren't you using it?
Because by the first time that I got pregnant with the miscarriage that I had, that was my second time having sex, and I thought, those 2 times were really separated, so I thought that...
So you were ignorant and you believed that you have to have sex a lot in order to get pregnant?
Pretty much, yes.
Which is, as you know now, ignorant, right?
Right.
All right. All right, so you, because of ignorance, you got pregnant the first time?
Right.
And then what happened?
The second time, I got pregnant, and my baby's father was in jail.
And why did you have sex with a criminal?
Well, that was the father of my first child, so it didn't really matter. I thought I loved him, and...
You thought, what was it that he did that got him into prison?
Well, he was in prison. We were both teens, so he just violated probation by smoking marijuana and whatnot.
I see. And you thought this would be an appropriate parent for your child?
No.
Then why did you get pregnant by a guy like that?
It
didn't just happen.
It didn't just happen.
It happened when you didn't use any birth control and he put his penis in there.
I didn't take care of myself.
Why not?
I have no idea.
So you don't love yourself, you don't care about yourself. Is that the deal?
I don't know if I don't love myself.
Well, why would you let that happen to yourself? Didn't you have any hopes or dreams for your life?
Not really, no.
Why not?
I never thought of it.
So you just think that little of yourself, that you thought you would never cure cancer or cure AIDS or invent something great or come up with a business plan or do anything in your life. You thought so little of yourself that you thought that what you were at 13 was the best you were ever going to be.
I just never thought of it. I just never thought of it.
All right. So in other words, you became a parent because you never thought and because you were ignorant.
Yes.
All right. So now that when you figured out that you were ignorant, you continued having children.
Yes, I did.
Why?
Well, with my second son, that happened, oh gosh. I just didn't take care of myself with the birth control again.
Why not?
Well, in that situation, I was in the process of switching birth controls. I was on birth control.
So you couldn't use a condom in the meantime or wait a couple of weeks?
He refused.
So you were raped?
No.
Well, you could have said no.
No, but I didn't say no.
Why not?
Because he was my boyfriend. I thought he was the one.
So you was okay with you if you got knocked up a third time or a fourth time? Don't you ever think about this stuff?
I didn't think I'd get pregnant.
What made you think that? You mean you were still ignorant at that point? You hadn't learned already that it only takes having sex one time to have a baby? That you don't have to have gallons of sperm poured into your vagina before you're going to get pregnant, that it could just take one time?
Well, with my second, we used the pull-out method.
Yeah, and dear, does the pull-out method work?
Obviously not.
What made you so more ignorant? You thought the pull-out method would work.
We just thought it would.
But because you were both ignorant.
Sure.
All right. So now that you've been ignorant and gotten knocked up 3 times, why did you have a 4th child? Why are you having a 4th one now?
Well, now see, hold on, let's back up here. The 3rd child is from a different man.
Oh, a different criminal?
No.
He's not in jail.
No.
He hadn't been in jail.
He's been in jail yet.
Oh, he's been in jail too. Do you ever meet anybody who's not on America's Most Wanted?
No, I haven't.
You only like having sex with criminals?
Well, this guy I've known since I was 11.
Oh, that makes it okay.
And I thought...
You thought, what the hell? Another guy in jail? That'd be, you have another kid by another guy who's in prison.
Before I had my 3rd child, I really thought I made up my mind that I didn't want any more kids.
You thought that you'd made up your mind. Well,
I thought I did.
But the point is, you're the only one who would know. You're the one in charge of making up your mind.
Then he proposed, and then I was...
So what the hell? I'm already in poverty. Let's make it even worse.
He was my first boyfriend with an actual job. That
job?
That took care of me and my 2 kids. And I thought, he wants he wants a kid of his own.
Uh-huh.
And I should give it to him.
Why should you give it to him?
Because if I didn't, who would? If I was the one that he was going to spend his life with.
Dear, how would you know anything about who's going to spend their lives with you?
Well, I figured we were going to get married.
Do you know what the odds are, getting married at your age under your conditions, that you will stay married? About 1 in 5.
Well, at the time I thought it was going to happen. Eventually, he ended up...
leaving you?
Kicking me out.
Kicking you out, even better.
Yeah, with my 3 kids.
Right.
And
by the way, who's paying for these children?
The county.
Oh, isn't that nice? So my tax dollars at work here. Now, what made you think you had the right to come to the rest of us and make us pay so you can have all these children?
I know that it's wrong, and...
Aren't you ashamed of yourself?
I am.
You should be.
I think it was very...
Ignorant.
Of me.
Ignorant and selfish.
Even to keep this one that I'm having.
Well, why are you doing it?
Because, okay, well, this one is...
What the hell? The rest of us are going to pay for it. That's why.
That, yeah.
Yeah, what the hell? How much welfare do you get, by the way?
I get $800 a month.
We're paying you $800 a month.
Yeah.
And do you have a job?
Nope.
No. So, let's review. You are supporting 3.5 kids
Right.
on $9,600 a year,
Mhm.
which is about half the poverty level.
Right.
Uh-huh. Did you ever think about that?
No.
So, not only did you not care about yourself, but you don't care about these children. Because
I do.
it's not good for children to grow up at half of the poverty level.
But my kids don't go without.
Dear, what do you mean they don't go without?
They have clothes, they have food, we have our own place. I
Yeah?
mean,
Where do you live?
I live in an apartment
Where?
in L.A.
Where?
off of Hoover, 20th.
Off of Hoover. That's a beautiful neighborhood down near the Pacific Auditorium there. That's a beautiful area there.
It's good.
The kids are growing up in just a great place. That's wonderful. Oh, I know exactly where you live, darling. So you're living in, would you say that's one of the safer neighborhoods in Los Angeles?
No.
Yeah. So you're raising your children in what is really a dangerous neighborhood at half the poverty level. And you really don't care.
You know, really, I think that I'm lucky.
No, you're not lucky. You're stupid.
It's not that I don't care. I think that there's a lot of people out there that don't have enough to stretch for their kids, for them to have clothes or food or shoes or anything.
Dear, when you have children, they should be going to college when they grow up.
Right.
So they don't end up like you.
What makes you think that they wouldn't go to college?
Because you don't have any money. Are we supposed to pay to educate them too?
Oh, Lord. I don't know.
You don't have the money to send children to college.
No, I don't.
And you won't.
And I won't.
Right. Because even if you got a job, you couldn't make more than it would cost to take care of your children in daycare.
Right.
So you're pretty much stuck there. There you are on Hoover Street raising your children with $9,600 a year. And you're defending it like, this is great. These are the carjackers of the future, dear. These are the children who are going to steal to support you ultimately one day.
No!
Are you kidding me? That's exactly what's going to happen.
Why?
Because where do you think criminals come from?
I grew up with all of that.
And you, not only that, you were impregnated by that. And you are creating more of it.
I don't think so.
Well, why do you think that? I mean, every man you're with practically is a criminal. And now, how can you tell me you're not raising the criminals of the future?
Because I'm trying to...
I know what you're trying to do. Your mother tried to do the right thing, too. Trying to do something isn't the same as doing it.
Well, I mean, I know that everything I've done is just wrong.
Yes, it's wrong.
And
your children will copy what Mommy did.
It's embarrassing to tell people when they ask, oh, is that your brother? And he's really my son.
Right, well.
But
you never thought ahead about that. In fact, here you are on the radio bragging about it.
I'm not bragging about it. I am not.
Oh, you're doing great. Your kids are the gangbangers of the future.
How can you
Are you kidding? After the current neighborhood kids get mowed down at 18 and 19, your kids are going to be there to replace them in the future. You're
telling me just because I'm poor and...
Just because you're poor and you live on Hoover Street and you're on welfare, the odds are your kids are going to be carjackers, home breaker intours, they're going to be gang members. Where do you think these people come from? Are you telling me that the gangbangers somehow grow up in worse situations than what you're in? How much worse can it get?
It could be a lot worser.
Worser? It could be a lot worser.
I don't beat my kids. I don't neglect them. They have a full-time mom. They have... I mean, they have everything they need.
Really?
Darling, Not
Groceries.
everything you have.
Groceries for 4 people should be $9,600 a year. So I imagine your rent is subsidized?
It is.
Yeah, so that's another thing you're getting.
Yes,
And do you get WIC coupons and stuff?
I do.
You do? Okay. A little food stamp action there.
Yep.
Right. And then every time your kids scrape their knee, you take them to the emergency room, and we pay for that too, right?
Yes.
Right. So, in other words, you're just sitting there, just happily living off the fat of the rest of us, contributing nothing to society.
You're right.
Dear, can I tell you something?
Sure.
You know why I know so much about this?
Why?
I grew up 3,000 miles away in the South Bronx. I grew up in a neighborhood like where you live.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it's like. You're trying to put the best face on a very bad situation. And it's something you should have thought about. Because you know what? I'm proof that just because you grew up in a dirt poor neighborhood, by the way,
Right.
there were 4 kids in a 1-bedroom apartment where I grew up. That was where I grew up, okay?
Okay.
Just because you grow up in a situation like this doesn't mean you have to repeat it.
All right.
I stood, can I tell you something? At 10 years old, I stood in my parents' apartment in the Bronx, and I said, I'm better than this. I'm better than this. That's why I'm here today. I mean, you needed to do that. But you decided you were just going to do the same thing that your mom did. And that's what your kids are going to do, too.
How do you know? You didn't.
At 10 years old, I said, I'm not going to live like this. I could not see myself being 22 years old and living on Hoover Street or the Grand Concourse. Well, it depends, wherever you grew up. I couldn't see myself doing that. You had no problem with it.
I understand your point of it, or the whole situation.
You just decided that you were not going to amount to any more than your own mother. And you went ahead and did the same thing she did.
I did.
And you are being naive if you think your children won't do the exact same thing. They saw Mommy, the welfare recipient. Mommy who takes the kids to the emergency room because she can't afford to go to a real doctor. Mommy doesn't have health insurance. Mommy has food stamps. Mommy doesn't go to work. That's their role model, dear. The other role models are the Crips and the Bloods and the 18th Street Gang. Those are your kids' role models right there. You did that. You did that.
I don't think so, because I used to hang around all that,
And look how you ended up.
I wouldn't let my kids do it.
Dear, you can't stop them.
Yes, you know.
Your mother didn't stop you.
You know why?
And here, mommy has sex with criminals and then has babies with them. You think your kids are stupid?
My mom never believed in putting a finger on you to stop us from walking out the door.
Mm-hmm.
It was only me and my brother. And
Well, let's see how good you are doing that when your kids turn 12, 13. Let's see how good you are. When they come home from school late and you don't know why. When they cut classes. When they go to school and someone sticks a knife in them. Let's see how good you are at it there.
I think I'm going to be real good at it.
Well, I know you think that, and your mother thought that, and your grandmother thought that. And look where you are, Hoover Street, collecting welfare.
The reason I think that it's going to be all right with my kids is because for my situation when I was little, my mom was single. She was very flexible with us. If I did school...
But you were flexible with yourself, and you still are.
I knew I could get away with it.
But you're still getting away with it. I mean, the society should say, screw you. You're not getting any welfare. We're taking your kids away because they shouldn't be living on Hoover Street. Nobody should be living on Hoover Street. They should drop a bomb on Hoover Street and rebuild. It's a dump, and you know it.
You know, It's actually...
Don't tell me it's actually not bad, dear.
No.
I'll tell you what. I'll come down there and park my Lexus LS 430, and I'll come into your apartment. And when I come back, let's see if it's still there.
It will be there.
Oh, you are full of it.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-866.
She hits me with, do you use condoms? And I'm like, of course I do. Then she says, well, I'm allergic to latex. So where do I go from there?
Away.
The Tom Leykis Show.
It's the Tom Leykis Show. This is Mike. Hello.
Hey, Tom.
Mike.
I just wanted to let you know that your last caller and some of the other shows that you've been doing have absolutely scared me of having sex. I've just listening to what that last girl was saying, I don't even want to know what goes through some of these girls' heads that I talk to when I go out on the weekend.
Yeah, and you don't know if you've met one of those.
Exactly, and it's probably the greatest gift that you've ever given to mankind because it has scared me away from having sex, at least until I'm older. I'm only 22 right now, so I'm definitely going to follow Leykis 101. I don't want any sort of committed relationship, and I don't want any little preacher calling me dad anytime soon, that's for sure.
And you don't want any former bitch for the night coming after you and taking your paycheck for 18 years.
Exactly. And it's astounding that there are people out there like that that don't have the common sense to realize what they're doing to society. And they don't care. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, Sam. Anyway, I just wanted to share my thoughts on what that stupid girl is doing. And can you take me out old school?
Here you go, Mike.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866.
When one of your boys becomes a puss, you got to do like an intervention.
I will get all of my friends in a room someday, and we'll just, grab some foam bats, and we'll beat the pussy right out of it.
That's right.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Tom Leykis Show. Michael. Hello.
Tom, how you doing?
I'm okay, Michael.
I have never been this heated until I heard that stupid-ass bitch talking about how we're paying for all her kids.
Oh, yeah.
My God. I'm a proud Latino, straight-up Latino. I'm proud of it. I've done very well for myself. But before I say what I got to say, I'm just trying to emphasize that I love being Latin. I love my Latin people, but that was a stupid-ass big bitch. Just producing and not giving a damn about it. And does she realize the only guys that are actually going to want her are guys that are bigger losers than she is?
Well, that's the thing. That's what these chicks don't understand. Your chances of marrying a good guy go down every time you have another bastard child.
You know what? If she was smart, how many, did she mention how many months she's pregnant?
She did not, no.
Well, anyhow, if
she'd have the abortion today and cut her losses.
You know what? She probably can't afford one. She could always go up some flight of stairs, and somebody could push her right down. That'd fix it. One less bastard child in this world.
Yeah, I was just amazed at how arrogant she is. Unbelievable.
Well, listen, Tom, it was great talking to you. Screw that bitch. Want to throw out a couple gunshots to the head.
All right. Here you go, Michael. Charisse on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Charisse.
Hi. You know what? It's so weird because I recently just started listening to your show, and I do like it. I mean, you really crack me up. But I am calling because I just had to comment. I was hearing the caller from Hoover, the one regarding the children and, her living in a basically environment where you concluded that she basically will be in that same situation that her mother was in, grandmother, etc. But the only thing I disagree with regarding that is that, and you mentioned about the kids and not being able to afford for them to go to college, but granted, there are a lot of working class parents who may make decent money but not enough to even send their children to college, but they are able to afford, or I should say they're able to get grants and different things to assist them.
Working class parents. You know what working class parents do? They work.
Yes.
They work,
yes,
and
but I'm
they
saying
are
this
providing an
because-
example to their children to work.
Right. Exactly, and I agree with everything that you were saying. I really do. But there are people that live in not so privileged areas that are able to afford, that are able to get themselves out of that cycle, but it depends on how.
Very few of them do. That's why we continue to have neighborhoods like Hoover, for God's sake.
The Tom Leykis Show.